wanted to watch. I was like,
Oh.
All right, you're unmuted.
let me know when to.
All right,
Good?
you're good.
All right.
I can hear you guys.
Do I need a, not, can you hear me back there? Can you hear me? Okay, no?
I don't need to.
I just want to make sure that people that are watching online can hear. All right, New Jersey Open Public Meeting Statement. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which time any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act and Board of Education Policy 0162, the Board of Education of the Borough of Bound Brook has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the board office and at Bound Brook High School and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, Bound Brook Borough Clerk, South Bound Brook Board of Education, and any person who has requested individual notice and paid the required fee. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Bale?
Here, present.
Ms. Martinez?
Here.
Ms. Morris?
Here.
Mr. Musano is absent today. Mr. Simano?
Here.
Mr. Tomasello?
I am here.
Mr. Badalare? Here. Mr. Zupko? Mr. Januzzi?
Here.
And Mr. Fazio?
Yes. The only comment is I hope everyone's summer is going well, and I guess I'm sure most people heard about the announcement by the state concerning masks. So I believe that's the direction that we'll be going because there's.
Glad we spent time on that
We
last.
spent a lot of time discussing that and taking surveys, but I guess we will be masked as of September. And as far as social distancing, we will have to wait and see what the state says on that. That's all I have for tonight. So at this time, I need open to the public for anything that's on the agenda. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Dr. Gallagher. I'm sorry.
I can
Yeah,
skip it if you don't want to hear.
no.
Just as I said, I tried to give you guys a warning about this. It is starting to come to fruition. Enrollment is going through the roof as we speak. Most of the students that we are receiving are SLIFE kids, which means that they are kids coming from South America with interrupted education. So to give you an example, we're going to have a number of kids who are going to be in the high school with only a 6th grade education. However, their age is going to make us place them in the high school as either freshmen or sophomores, depending on their age. And unfortunately, they're probably going to age out before they can graduate, so it's going to hurt our graduation cohort rate. In addition to this, by the number of kids that are coming in, and as they're coming in across grade levels, the other thing that you should be aware of is that regardless of how hard we work, when kids are missing multiple years of education, it's going to be very, very hard to obtain satisfactory numbers in our test scores when the tests are back. So I just wanted to bring you to that. So to give you an example, Mr. Smith, I think the high school's at 680 for the start of the year, up from 608.
616, we're up to 681.
Right. So just to give you an idea, at the height of when I was here, and this was the middle high school, I think the most we had in the high school building from 7 through 12 was 745 or 46 kids. So we are definitely getting to an area in the high school of space is going to be at a premium shortly. A lot of our new kids are going to be elementary kids as well. I know Ms. Rita is processing those as we go along, but just to give you an idea, the high school's at 681, middle school's at 296, Smalley is at 527, Lafayette is at 239, and Lamont Annex is at 169. However, again, we're going to see a rash of kids enrolling there for pre-K and kindergarten. That usually happens to us at the end of August. So just wanted to give you that. And currently we have 11 positions open. We had a run of resignations, unfortunately. So right now we currently need a special ed math high school person, middle school nurse. We made offers to both of those positions on multiple occasions, and we've been turned down on each of those. ESL at the high school, again, we made an offer to a person and they turned us down. Preschool, that is a new section that we're opening, so that was not the resignation. We had 2 first grade resignations. One is now filled and should be on this, or if not, the next agenda. We are still looking for 2 grade 2 teachers. We added a new 4th grade position due to enrollment already for smaller schools, so that's a new position. We do have a 4th grade special ed position open. We have an ASI 7th grade position open, and we have the supervisor of English language arts. So that is my report for this moment in time, and I turn it back to you.
Do you know how many core entry students we're getting, like an estimate?
I can't tell you exactly how many until Marisol gives me the numbers, but I can tell you that, as I told you guys before, one of the things that we have to be very cognizant about is the number of ESL kids we have and probably have to expand ESL as the year goes on. Unfortunately, right now, as you can see, we're having a hard time getting an ESL teacher, and I think everybody's going to be in that boat. I think the other thing that hurts us, quite frankly, is the fact that the state took away all of our immigrant aid. So we got 0 immigrant aid this past year. That's not going to help us either. So that's going to make it a little bit more difficult when the time comes.
Okay. At this time, it is open to public for anything that is on the agenda.
Hello, Lauren Paxton, President of the Bound Brook Education Association. Where can I find and read 12.8? It's not on the agenda.
That's the nurse,
That's in there.
the nurse.
Once it's approved, it will be posted, just like every other church.
Was this discussed with the association, considering it pertains to the members?
No.
Is it possible that we could have a discussion before it gets approved? Maybe we can table it and have a discussion?
I leave that up to the board president.
What is usual as far as approving?
Well, again, this particular shared service agreement is been in place since October. We're doing this at your request, Michelle. Again, this is about giving out medication over at South Boundbrook, which takes probably an hour. When that situation arises, I think it was 4 times this past year. Again, it's up to you.
I don't see any problem, as far as discussing that ahead of time. Just,
I've asked to talk about this many times in the past month or two.
you emailed me a month and a half ago,
Yep.
asking me to discuss something by email, which is completely inappropriate for a board member to discuss those types of things by email. I let you know that. You continue to email me, asking and requesting to speak about it by email. I made it quite clear that that was not the vehicle.
Yeah.
The vehicle is to stand at a meeting, because I am one person, I am not the Board of Education.
Well,
I'm one tenth of it. And now that you brought that up, I have to say that your emails, because there were 4 of them, there were 4 separate ones, and each time you continued to ask me if I was, let me, it said, is it safe to assume you do not want to discuss the fact that our super makes secret agreements with South Boundbrook behind our backs? I had said being at a meeting was the place for that, and you continued to ask me that. And then you, at another time, when I emailed you as far as the, letting you know that we have a board, that we have a committee together to talk about negotiations, you continued to ask me, and this is the 3rd time where you had asked me, did you want to discuss the secret agreement the supers made behind our backs in the meantime? And I just flat out said no, because I let you know in an earlier email that that type of communication was inappropriate. And then you characterized me saying no for the 3rd time. Does that mean you are okay with Dan entering into secret agreements with South Boundbrook without discussing with the BOE or the BBEA, or at least informing us that an agreement has been made? And that I take objection to that characterization, because that's not why I said no, because it is an ethics violation for anyone on this board to communicate with anyone personally as if they represented the school board. I am 1/10 of the school board, so I let you know coming to the meeting was the place for that. So I'm glad that you're here. So let's just set the record straight when it came to communications by email. As far as that agreement, if you're asking to take a look at it prior to the vote, I see no problem doing that. So when we get to that, we can table that particular agreement. Would we like to do that up front?
You can table it now.
Sure, I don't mind tabling it now.
So I'd like a motion to table that particular agreement, the shared service agreement with the school nursing services. Can I get a motion to table that?
Motion.
Mr. Tomasello, can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Val,
Yes.
I gotta find my list, sorry. Doing double duty here. Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
Mr. Palmaselli,
Yes.
Mr. Vadalea,
Yes.
Mr. Januzzi,
Yes.
Mr. Fabio.
Yes. Okay, so we will not vote on that until after we have discussed that. Now,
What-
do we want to do that prior to the meeting? How do you want to handle that particular?
Well, it seems as though he needs to talk to you about it, so I will provide you the agreement. I guess your negotiation committee, their negotiation committee can sit down and discuss it.
Okay, so we're not going to handle it tonight at the meeting?
I don't have a copy here with me at the meeting.
Do we? I think it's
It's
on
That's an
here.
attachment.
Yeah,
It's an attachment, so
we
if you want
have
to
it.
talk about it,
If
you
you
can,
want
it's
to.
up to you.
I don't think it's attached on ours.
No, you don't get it until it gets voted on.
What is your concern?
Well, it's,
If it's some, because this has been in place since
no,
October.
it hasn't been in place.
No?
This is the problem with it. They have been using it, but our board, you guys, have not approved it. So they went through the year, and the reason why it got to me is I received a phone call. My member was asking if we had an agreement for the nurses to be shared with South Boundbrook. And I said, no, there is no agreement. Ultimately, one of our nurses was written up because they didn't know of this agreement. So this was a secret agreement between the supers. I talked to the South Boundbrook, and they even said that their board did not approve it. There was a signed agreement with no dates on it. So I asked when it was dated, no answer. Our lawyer asked your lawyer when it was dated, there was no answer. I asked to discuss the secret agreement and I was declined. So there's a few aspects that I would like to be able to protect my nurses if and when they go to Southbound Borough. That's,
So question, she was written up. Was she written up because why? Because she refused to
Well,
go to
I don't
Southbound
think,
Borough?
hold on, we can't discuss
Okay.
specifics of
Okay, sorry.
item, but let's just be clear as far as, because now that we're in public, and this is the appropriate place to discuss it. As far as what you labeled this super secret agreement as, I'm looking at what's written up. What we agreed to 3 years ago as far as a shared service, we had shared service where we had specific people doing specific duties. What happened in October was that Southbound got in touch with the district to say that because of COVID, they were having difficulties when their nurse was absent to actually get someone come in and cover because they weren't able to get any substitute nurses. So she had reached out to Dr. Gallagher for a professional courtesy to say, hey, we don't have someone here to give out medicine today. Would it be okay that when that happens, that we send one of your nurses over? So it's not quite the same level of, shared services that the other counselors were under, because that was a definite set number of times and services. This was a professional courtesy to a school district that we share, that even not having anything in writing, if there was absolutely nothing in writing, and that school district called us and said, listen, can't get a nurse today.
Kids need medicine.
Kids need medicine, we have an emergency situation, could you please send someone over for an hour and a half to make sure that the health and well-being of the children that showed up at our school today is taken care of? I would hope to God that we wouldn't need anything in writing to allow someone to go over and make sure that children who showed up at school that day were accommodated for their health and well-being. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if someone got written up because they were told that they did not need to go, that's unknown, but whoever told them not to go. Because I am a union member for 20 years, I'm a member of a union for 20 years. I've asked personally, I've known people that I've worked with that ask, hey, my principal asked me to do X, Y, and Z. What should I do? I don't know if that's covered by the contract. And my union member advised me that they could not, under any circumstances, tell me to do anything but what my principal asked me to do. And then they said that our recourse was to be filed a grievance that the contract was not adhered to. So on the day that you're talking about, even if there wasn't whatever you call as the secret agreement, as far as I'm concerned, there didn't need to be any agreement other than there are children that need medicine. We don't have a nurse. We're in the middle of a pandemic. Could you please send someone so that these children can be attended to? The answer should have been yes, regardless of contract, agreements, and such. And if you felt that there needed to be an official agreement, then that's what we're doing right now. Okay. And we can take a look at it together, but as far as what happened, whenever it happened, that's my feeling about the whole subject.
Michelle, if that's the case, do I need to talk to all the county superintendents about getting an agreement for crisis counseling when issues arise in the county, such as a suicide or anything like that, where a school district sends out an SOS for
listen, like I said,
counselors, and we send our counselors, because if this is going to be the case, then I have to do that as well, because we do that, and we've done it with Manville a number of times over the years. We've done it with Hillsborough. So if this is going to be an issue of us being able to do a common courtesy to another district without helping kids, I need to know that, because then I have to work this summer with all the county superintendents to come up with something for crisis management.
Is crisis management included in the shared agreement we have with the counselors currently?
Well, this is other districts
This is other
beyond
districts,
Southbound.
so this is outside South Bamberg. So and I'll just use the example when I was high school principal, when the kid stepped in front of the train over at Manville, and Manville needed extra counselors for grief protocols to deal with kids in crisis, we sent our counselors.
Correct.
We do that throughout the county all the time. It happens year in and year out. So am I going to have a written shared service agreement for that too as well? Because if I do, I got to talk to all of the superintendents in the county to come up with a template that we're all going to sign for, or get the executive county superintendent involved in that. Because this is a common practice that we've done for the 17 years I've been here.
Right, and like I said, regardless of whether there was anything in writing that particular day or any day where nurses needed to give out medication for children who showed up at school that day, and parents sent them a student that they were going to take their health and well-being was going to be taken care of. I would hope to God that humanity would have the answer is yes every single time, regardless of what's on paper. So there could be nothing on paper, and I still would have said that what happened that day is what should happen, because children's health and well-being is paramount over everything. But we could certainly take a look at what's on paper if you'd like to apply to vote on it.
Ever since South Dunbrooke's nurse retired, with this nurse that we currently have, who just retired as well, there have been instances when the nurse is away or something like that we try to get a substitute nurse.
And we
But even a
can't,
substitute nurse, the organization we use for substitute nurse sometimes won't even give us a substitute nurse because of how small our school is, and we won't pay the substitute nurse as much as another school district. So we're on the low bottom of the total pool in that instance as well. And with our shared service agreement, we actually have Bound Brook students there that are in a special ed classroom that we are learning as well. So if the nurse wasn't there, we're actually affecting Bound Brook students as well, not only South Dunbrook.
right, so I think that back in October when this first came to light, it was not as an official shared service, because it's not, hey, we're going to send this number of nurses, this number of days to cover your thing, we're going to share that cost, blah, 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 blah. This is hey, I'm calling you today because we don't have a nurse to give out medicine. Can you please send someone? And that's what happened. And it should happen every single time, regardless of what's on a piece of paper.
Well, and the other fact is, right now, we're still down a nurse, and if we can hire a nurse, we're going to be sharing nurses inside our own district.
Right.
There will be a building without nurse coverage for part of that.
Well, that's what would happen if you sent a nurse to South Dunbrook anyway. So if you send one away,
For an
then,
hour, right.
well, when it happened, it wasn't just for an hour. But for the record, when the child study team, when Dr. Gallagher wanted to do that, he reached out to me and told me about it, and we had a discussion about it, and he let me know about it. That's what happened.
I think the difference between what you're discussing, which is a true shared agreement, that there are a certain number of people that are going to serve a certain number of hours here and a certain number of hours there. And this would be the duties that they would be expected to do, and that would change their every day or weekly work.
This is an
Their
as
work
needed.
schedule. This is hey, if you have an emergency, is it okay if you send someone over that you can free up, because how many nurses do we have on?
Normally we have 5, but it looks like this year we're going to be running with 4.
All right, so we have 5, you have none, so we will find one of them that can go across and make sure that the children that showed up at school that day are taken care of. So though it be different, he was told that no, we should still put it before the board, and which is what we are doing tonight.
All right, thank you. But for the record, like I was saying, with the other shared service, I was made aware of it in advance. If this was something that you guys came to in October, the least you could have done is shared that with the nurses, so it wasn't a surprise in June. There's no reason why they should be surprised to say, hey, we need someone in South Brook, can you go over there? It shouldn't be a surprise in
It
June.
was a surprise because they went over in November, and they were told in October.
Not all the nurses knew about this. The nurses did not know about this in June. Did not know about this in October.
Correct. Tony, did you have a meeting in October with the nurses about substitute nurses?
No, that did not happen.
Well, according to his meeting minutes,
It
it
did
did.
not happen.
Okay.
It was a surprise in June for the ones that were being asked in June.
Surprising if they were going over in
Okay,
November.
so it was a surprise to me. I did not know about it.
It already happened 3 times. prior to
All right,
June.
but we're
It's
now
not-
getting off.
It's a different nurses. Different nurses were asked in June. So it might have been,
That is not correct either.
okay.
Right.
Well, thank you for tabling it,
And we'll take it together.
and we'll communicate when set up to talk about it.
I mean, because, well, I don't know if it has to be part of negotiations.
No.
But, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward, if we have an emergency.
Well, there's a few aspects that I would like to see in it
Mhm.
to protect our members, just like I had that opportunity for input with this child study team.
Do we want to just do you want to send him a copy of that? Okay, and we'll have to, then we'll just communicate about setting up a date
Okay,
to discuss it.
thank you.
Well, we're gonna have to discuss it, because if it wants the time frame on this is starting September 1st. We've got one meeting now between now and September 1st, so we're gonna have to,
In the next 2 weeks,
we're gonna have to do it in the next 2 weeks. and
Well,
then-
to get it on the 23rd.
And
Yeah.
conversely, you need to give me guidance on prices.
You know, we're going down the street, we're gonna have to cover all aspects of that street now.
All right, then I have to reach out to the county and let them know.
Absolutely.
I will make sure you get a copy of that as soon as I can figure out how to match it.
This,
Okay. Is there anything else for agenda items? Hearing none, can I?
We got a couple online.
Oh, sorry.
online.
Well, Tricia's here.
First one is from Denise Huga, 516 Helton Street, Bound Brook, 6.3, 6.4, and 7.3, 7.5. I've been following school board meetings for years. I continue to see the increased number of resignations in the district. Past teachers who have left shared that there has been no exit interview process, no questions why they're leaving. This was brought to the board's attention. We have 5 more resignations. Have or will any of these resignations on today's agenda item be provided an exit interview? The answer is everybody has. If so, who in addition to the superintendent's office is reviewing these responses and what is being done with the information? If why not? I don't get them. It goes to the human resources manager.
He doesn't get them, they go to the human resources, and she has I believe you have compiled,
She has
that she's gonna share with us in executive this evening, correct?
She had shared them with you in our weekend report. She will also share the updated information with you today in executive session. That's perfect. Michelle Conover, she did not give her address. Resignations. It is a shame to see so many more resignations, especially Stacey Young. In the few years I worked with her, she was an amazing literacy leader. She was intelligent, had so many great things to move Bamberg forward. This is a huge loss. We will also see several young teachers leaving. This board should not be happy or should not be complacent. So many teachers leaving, teachers and staff leaving after the year, and get to the bottom of this. And again, the exit interviews are right there. Bert Policastro, 403 Lamont Avenue. This is for open, I'm sorry, she put it in the wrong spot, so I will wait for that.
Turn it on.
Mine's on. I will have to bring that question back up at the end. Okay. We're good.
Okay. All right. At this point, we need to get a motion for approval of the minutes from 7:19.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Bell.
Second.
Second, Mr. Thomaselli.
Okay, was there anyone that was absent? No, I think we were.
I don't think anybody was absent.
We actually have a board. Okay, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Ms. Martinez.
Yes.
Ms.
Oh, wait a
Morris.
second, oh, I'm sorry. Where are you, Mr. Januzzi? Because I know you had sent,
I answered all the questions.
oh, you did? Okay, because I wasn't sure, because I didn't see it.
I know, it was right for the.
Yes, okay. But you're okay with, okay, all right, sorry. Keep going.
Ms. Morris.
Yes.
Ms. Romano.
Yes.
Mr. Thomaselli.
Yes.
Mr. Badalare.
Yes.
Mr. Fazio.
Yes.
Mr. Janucci.
Yes.
Okay, 6.1, resolve that the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions under district and high school, 6.2 to 6.15. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Badalare, second.
Second.
Mr. Thomaselli, any comments or questions? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli?
Yes.
Mr. Valerier?
Yes.
Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
Ms. DeFazio?
Yes. 7.1, resolved, the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions under middle and elementary school, 7.2 to 7.10. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Tomaselli, Mr. Valerier, any questions? Comments? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli?
Yes.
Mr. Valerier?
Abstain.
Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
Ms. DeFazio?
Yes. 8.1, resolve the Bound Brook Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in education resolutions under district and high school, 8.2 to 8.12. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Tomaselli, second.
Second.
Ms. Morris, any questions or comments?
Question, I see that we've got the manual and everything on there. Have we adjusted the manual to the new laws on marijuana?
Yes.
Okay. And then does marijuana fall under the 100 feet smoking within?
Actually, there's not really that many changes for a school district in that new law.
Okay, no,
Marijuana is not supposed to be on school grounds at any point in time. If somebody happens to be on medical marijuana, for them to receive it, their parents must come in, sign them out, take them home to give it to them.
all right, cool, thank you.
Hearing no other questions, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli?
Yes.
Mr. Valerier?
Yes.
Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
Ms. DeFazio?
Yes. 9.1, resolve that the Bound Brook Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in education resolutions under middle and elementary schools, 9.2 to 9.5. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Morris, can I get a second?
Second.
Mr. Val, any questions or comments? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli?
Yes.
Mr. Valerier is abstaining. Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
And Ms. DeFazio?
Yes. 10.1, resolve the Bound Brook Board of Education approves the first reading of the following new or revised policies and regulations as required by the New Jersey State Department of Education. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Tomaselli, second.
Second.
Ms. Morris. I do have a question. Are we having a policy meeting between now and then to kind of go over like we did the last time? Like any of the,
Yeah,
I know we did it by Zoom the last time and I.
Right. I sent it out.
Yeah, it's a little dry.
I sent it out to everybody, expecting some comments or ask for a meeting. So we can have a meeting between now and the 23rd, absolutely.
Yeah, because that, there's just a lot. That's, I just want to know what are our changes and what are changes from the state and so on and so forth.
Easy enough.
Okay. Hearing no other questions or comments, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli?
Yes.
Mr. Valerier?
Yes.
Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
And Ms. DeFazio?
Yes. 11.1, resolve the Bound Brook Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in Special Services Resolutions 11.2 and 11.3. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr.
Second.
Val and Mr. Tomaselli, second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Ms. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Morris?
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano?
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli?
Yes.
Mr. Valerier?
Yes.
Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
Ms. DeFazio?
Yes. 12.1, approval of finance resolutions. Resolve the Bound Brook Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in financial resolutions 12.2 to 12.14. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Valerier, second.
Do we need to do anything about 12.8?
Hold that thought. We
We'll-
can second first. then
We have to,
discuss.
yeah, and then we'll vote to table it.
Second.
Mr. Thomaselli, okay, now because we've already,
We already tabled
Tabled
it, so
that.
it is not there.
it's not considered part of that.
For 12.9, sorry if I missed this, how do you guys students get to RBCC?
We will be busing them.
Okay, I did wanna, say thank you. It's funny, I was in Staples the other day with my husband, and they always ask, do you wanna donate $5 for, poor school districts and stuff like that? And he turned to me and he said, to people in Staples, I'm a teacher, why don't you just take $5 off my tab? And so we laugh, and I am embarrassed by him every time he does that. And he said, I've never seen anyone, do you get any donations from Staples? So I told Mr. DeFazio that in fact, tonight we are receiving a donation from Staples. So thank you, Staples, for giving us the donation that my husband refuses to
Well,
participate in.
Not only that, we actually received a very large truckload of donations for art supplies, which we are now doing,
Yes, I
because
saw
so many
that.
came in, we're actually donating some to South Ballard, so I don't want that to be a secret agreement or anything like that. We're donating it over.
Now, who did we get the art supplies from? Was that from Staples as well?
No.
Who was that?
Yeah, it just doesn't say on there.
I can.
So thank them for giving it to us
We
and
can
then
send a
we'll
letter.
share it.
Yeah, we sent a letter.
Yeah. But I just thought it was funny because my husband keeps talking about this Staples donation, and now I can tell him it's real.
So, question for you.
Yep.
On 12.9, what exactly is advanced?
Manufacturing.
Yes, what are they doing?
I had a question. Presentation about it.
Yeah, we have a presentation
Yeah,
on that.
Mr. Ross had done that.
It's advanced manufacturing, so it's almost setting up like, computer systems to manufacture.
Tool and die and things
Yeah.
like that?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
More hands-on. RBCC is really taking over what the VOTEC used to do, which is the shops.
Right.
So really what VOTEC has turned into is a magnet school for only high-end kids. So they don't do any shops anymore over at vocational. So what happened was there's such a void there that RBCC started this. So I think right now it's us, Manville, North Plainfield seem to be the three big groups who are sending kids over to RBCC, which in some ways is good because our kids are not only learning that skill that they used to learn at VOTEC, but now they're learning it at RBCC and also getting credit, college credit while they're at it.
Yeah, because the way the free electives work is what we'll have to, if they have this when they go to an actual accredited college,
They have the credits.
they have the credits where they won't have to take the filler classes that are not part of your.
Well, and again, I think the kids that are taking these classes are truly the kids who, when they graduate, are going to look to go straight into the workforce. So what's good about it is hopefully they can get an associate's degree before they go out. And at least we can say that they, yes, not only are they going out to the workforce, but they do have an associate's degree and a college education along the way versus what we've had in the past where we just had kids going out to the workforce with no college experience whatsoever.
Well,
Yeah.
six college credits could save children, thousands of dollars.
Correct.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So with Pat Mason of W4 Promotions in Somerset, he donated about $5,000 worth of art supplies, including paints, craft kits, glue sticks, modeling clay, construction paper, scissors, etc.
Awesome.
That's very nice.
That's great. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Mr. Bale,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Rosamano,
Yes.
Thomaselli,
Yes,
Mr. Badalero.
Yes, with an abstention from check 38239 and check 38169.
Mr. Januzzi,
Yes.
and Mr. Fazio.
Yes. Does anyone on the board have anything they would like to bring forward?
I'm just going to let everybody know, we've made that decision on the superintendent search that we're going with option B. So there were A, B, C, D. We're going with option B, that is the $12,500 option, for school boards to run your superintendent search.
Okay, that should start in September, correct?
She's gonna, once I send her the agreement,
She'll reach out to me.
she's gonna lay out a timeline with you. She's gonna have to talk to you about the timeline and things like that. And she'll kind of start backwards and come forward.
All right, is that Gwen that's gonna be reaching out? Or-
Yes, Gwen will be the search consultant. I did happen to speak to her this past week, and I believe she's gonna be the search consultant.
Okay, great. Any other questions or concerns?
well, I just hopefully, one thing when they're searching, Bridgewater just got a new superintendent, and they took Manville's. So I just wanted to make people aware of that, so, you know, Manville was the same size as us, and,
Well, when the governor put in the caps for superintendents based on the size of school districts, it really hampered school districts our size of competing,
oh, yeah.
because we can't
He
we
was there
can't pay them
for,
the same
he
as
was
other.
exactly there for 4 of his 5 years for his contract. And then left for much richer, greater pastures.
Yeah, you get
Oh,
a
substantially.
huge
Substantially.
substantial
From
pay
going
raise when you
Group 1
go,
to Group 4, yeah.
when you go to.
A lot more headaches too.
Yeah. I agree. Hearing none, no others,
Just
yeah, go
one
ahead.
quick question, just to be perfectly clear, of the attachment that we got, it's the option all the way in the left-hand most column? Thank you.
So it's safe to assume that we're competing for a superintendent at the same time Manville's competing for the superintendent.
I believe Manville promoted their assistant superintendent to superintendent.
Okay,
But I can tell you my conversation with Glenn, it's gonna be a tough search for us.
okay.
Okay. At this point, open to the public for anything
Should we take
that needs
Dan's?
to.
I got a
Dan's
couple.
got-
All right, so we'll start with the online ones, and then if anyone in person has something to ask.
Brooke Castro, what strides have been taken in the search for superintendent? What are the list of criteria, credentials the board has assembled for this position as the BOP made definitive decision regarding a community stakeholder group and vetting of the new superintendent candidates. Again, you guys have opted for school boards to do that on your behalf.
Yes, and I know in the description, just to let people know, part of that description, there were different levels, and the level that we had chosen absolutely has them in charge of trying to reach out, community outreach to both faculty, staff, and community to be part of the stakeholders in choosing the next superintendent. And so now that he has a direction, Dr. Gallagher has a direction in which we want to go, we will have more information once school boards reach out to us.
Next one is from Lauren Castellanos, 138 West High Street. I have a question about quarantine process for children who tested positive for COVID. Why does a child has to lose out on 5 days of school because of quarantine? If the child gets COVID on day 3 of school, then again, 90 days thereafter, and then another 90 after that. They just automatically lose 15 days of school on top of other miscellaneous absences. I realize the chance of getting COVID 3 times is slim, but I still find it absurd that a child has to lose that many days of education. Why can't we have teachers live stream Google Classrooms with their commenting turned off? Then don't need to address the virtual kids, as I understand that has been a focus on in-person students. We have the technology in place to use Classrooms, so anyone who's home can still learn with their class. They can email their teacher with questions, and teachers can answer when time permits. Again, I think all of these guidelines and things like that come directly from the state of New Jersey, and we have to follow those. And one of the things is no virtual education. So again, our direction is coming from the state, and we must follow that. Karen, do you want to add anything on timelines? I mean, timelines are timelines. We have no choice, right?
Yes, and we've been in communication with the Department of Health, the county, and our school physician. So as things get updated, we'll keep updating.
And those students, after they miss 5 days, get home instruction.
Yeah.
And like if we're doing hypotheticals, I would add, what are we doing about teachers, let's say, who unfortunately contract COVID through school? I know that's kind of
Again, at this moment in time, that they're on their own accord, because right now the teachers have had the opportunity and the availability to be vaccinated.
Right, well, we know that, listen,
Even
it's
if you're
another
vaccinated, still-
list of hypotheticals, yeah.
Correct.
Like a huge thing of hypotheticals of what if.
Well,
we-
again,
we
I'd
could be
rather
here.
not deal with hypotheticals, I'd rather deal with live situations where, we can use some common sense.
Right, on the table.
I just have one additional question. Do we have an idea of what the break point would be where teachers become overwhelmed with home instruction?
That's a great question. Again, this is definitely a new era for us. We've never had, large amounts of kids on home instruction. I could foresee large amounts of kids on home instruction. At that point in time, it really, the way we do home instruction, we put it out to everybody from that particular building where the kid goes to school. So at that point in time, I would think, we can use various teachers to do home instruction at that point in time, so we kind of could spread it out to some degree. However, though, again, if you have 30 kids on home instruction in one building, that's, and that's basically a class. That's a tough one. And I agree with you. It's something we haven't had to deal with. And until this situation arises, I'm not exactly sure how we would handle that.
Do we have any indication of any parents at this point contacting you, saying that they're going to definitely request home instruction because they're refusing to send their?
They can't request home instruction.
Okay,
You can't request it. It has to be for a medical reason only. You can't.
okay.
So there is no virtual option. So a parent cannot
They would
get
have
home this
to
year.
pull their kid out and do true
They would have to
homeschool.
homeschool.
Yeah.
All right, so what you're talking about is that as far as having to have people in school do that, that's only if kids came to school and then they were forced to be sent home for whatever reason, for quarantining after that, that's what you're talking about, Dr. Gallagher?
Then it just comes down to how many teachers volunteer and take the home instruction, so.
And that's
But teachers who
additional
do
money.
it, I can tell you, they love the extra money. I mean, some teachers, I'm sure this year are gonna be making a lot of summer money on home instruction.
Remember the good old days when we just worried about.
I know, right?
But isn't that also only with the case of when students who aren't vaccinated have to quarantine? Because if students are vaccinated, you don't have to quarantine if you came in contact with someone. So
Again, actually, we had a lengthy discussion about that today, Karen and I, and we really do need to get some more clarification because of all the guidance that we're getting right now. Like, vaccinated people weren't supposed to have to wear masks, right? Now everybody's wearing a mask. Now they're saying that vaccinated people may get the Delta variant or another variant that may be coming about. So again, I don't have an answer for you because it's a fluid situation constantly. I just think that, once again, we're in uncharted waters. I think we need to handle it on a case-by-case basis and do the best we can. What we do know is we're prepared. We're more prepared than any other school districts. We had to go remotely. I think that we do have other options for us should we have a number of kids that have to go out on home instruction. More importantly, though, I think if our bigger problem is if we do have a run on teachers who are absent because of COVID, that is going to create a much different situation and a much different dynamic that we would have to resolve.
Yeah, because I'm sure substitutes this year are going to be.
Substitutes last year were almost impossible. I mean,
In a good year, they're,
and to be honest,
regular year, they're gonna be fine.
and to be honest with you, because we were on remote instruction for so long, we didn't even really touch our substitute budget.
That's good. We'll put that towards our influx of real
That's a whole
I
nother,
know.
other situation. Let me get through a couple more. Ms. Del Conte did not give her address. Thank you for the board BOE of overriding the denial I received from administration and ensuring that I was able to access my email documents after I was prematurely locked out of my account. Access to district technology or professional consideration is noted and appreciated. Okay. So Brooke Policastro, 403 Lamont Avenue, as president of the BOA, shouldn't DeFazio be leading the meeting and reading the public inquiries? No, that is me. Okay. Brooke Policastro, 403 Lamont Avenue. Considering the superintendent answers to the BOE and ultimately the BOE has to vote on the new super, is it ethical to have our current superintendent have any dealings with contacting, connecting, considering how his own replacement, should misspell that unfortunately. Again, my job is to do what the Board of Ed directs me to do, and I will continue to do that.
you're kind of like the middleman of the situation, right?
Right, I mean, basically, he has nothing to do with the decision of how, once
I
we
just set
get,
up
all he did is set up a contact between Gwen Thornton, who is our rep, and us letting them know. You put out, the NJSBA put a flyer out, and he sent that to us and asked us which type of search were we looking to pay for and get involved with. We gave him our feedback, and he is basically just taking our feedback and connecting that with, school boards. After that.
And I assume at this point you
once
step
we
back
start-
and,
Yeah, once they start the
the
actual
actual
process,
search.
then
Listen,
Dr. Galvin will
I'm not
have.
involved in it.
Right,
You know,
this-
I sit,
the steps thus far have not been a search,
No.
they've just been, here's how to do it.
Yeah, at this point, Gwen will be contacting Michelle directly.
Right,
Correct.
Yeah, going forward, once it starts.
so I guess to answer that
Once the
question, he will not be involved in the
contract
search.
Yeah,
It's really.
Right.
everything that starts goes to Michelle. Michelle will filter it down to the board from there.
Correct.
The last one, I think we have right now is Burke Policastro, 403 Lamont Avenue. Is there a teacher list of classroom needs at this point? Not to my knowledge, I don't think our teachers really need much of anything. We got so many donations in of so many different things, I can't imagine that there
Grade
is.
levels are posting lists of student supplies, I know that.
Grade levels will be posting a list of supplies on the website shortly.
They're up.
Oh, they're already up, there you go, they're already on the website.
I mean, every child this year is gonna need their own box of Kleenex, and they're gonna need their own everything.
Now, Staples made sure that everybody has Kleenex and hand sanitizer.
That's awesome. That's,
You got plenty, so, and that is it for online?
Is there anyone in person that would like to make a comment or question?
Josephine, is it on?
Yeah,
Josephine Leite, 121 Cherry Ave. Some of my questions have already been answered through the online process and you guys discussing. So I'm going to try to wrap it up. First, another 6 resignations in our district. I'd like to say thank you to Ms. Panarelli and Ms. Yegish. They were both my child's teachers and they are phenomenal. It really makes me sad and and I think it's terribly disappointing to see another set of excellent professionals leave. And here we are again, talking about the same issue over and over again. Until when and why? I genuinely would like to know. I don't even want a response from you guys because I know you're not going to give me one. But it's still very sad. At the June 6th board meeting, I asked if the community could be involved in the search for the new superintendent, to which there was an overall agreement that yes, that could be possible. I know you spoke about this a little while ago. I was wondering if we can set up a date for discussions.
Once Ms. Thornton, who's the representative from the New Jersey School Boards Association, gets in touch with me,
Okay.
she will outline what that process will look like and how best to involve the community. And at that point, we will let you know.
Will you let us know through a board meeting or?
I would assume that it would be more than just a board meeting. I'm sure there would be more going out there, because there are a lot of parents that may want to be involved, that
Right.
necessarily either come or listen to board members.
Okay. What's the time frame usually for that process? You guys were talking about it a little while ago. You were saying it didn't actually start yet, right? Because the contact was made and then only when she
First week
replied.
of September. We're gonna hit the ground running in September, but like I said, once he now knows which level of involvement we want the school boards to take,
Okay.
he's gonna reach out to her tomorrow, and then I'm assuming shortly after that, she will get in touch with me.
But the process itself, is it a lengthy one or?
yes,
I would assume.
it's 3 to 6 months.
Oh, okay.
We're not gonna turn around in the second week of September and say, hey, we have a new superintendent. It doesn't work.
Yeah, we wouldn't want to rush it,
No.
right?
No, I mean, once we
Okay.
have the candidates that we're interviewing,
Like I said,
vetting
school board
process.
will
Okay.
make sure, because part of the package that we asked for their involvement includes outreach to community, outreach to faculty and staff, and having some, buy-in from more than just the board. So that obviously will take some time.
Okay. All right. Some of these things I'm not even going to talk about. Regarding the nurses situation that was touched on in the beginning, I'm not sure if I can still talk about this.
As long as you don't name names or anything very
Okay.
specific.
No, I'm not going to talk about names. Are other staff members trained for application of EpiPens or nebulizers? If there's an emergency with a child in a building where the child needs to go to a hospital, like a serious case, what's the procedure if a nurse isn't in that building?
Would you like to?
We have a number of people who are first aid and CPR certified in buildings. We have a complete list of those. We have a complete list of everybody who's trained to use an EpiPen in each building, as well as a number of other things. The laws have constantly keep changing for training for teachers, especially on the medical front. I think it's become, quite frankly, very difficult for teachers in terms of the amount of training they have to do just on medical prevention and medical issues. But yes, we do have emergency panic buttons in every classroom. Once that is pressed, we have a response
That's
time of
great.
about a minute.
Now, do you need like some type of written consent from a parent? Since it's not a nurse, that would
Because
be,
we're identified by like, I'm one in the building,
right,
so,
you won't
yeah, I'm
need
listed
every
on the
single.
list of people that are possible to get.
As certified.
Yeah.
Because I know, I have a friend that her child is allergic to peanuts, and she mentions that you have to give like a consent, you know what I mean? That, or the child needs to have give a consent, to use it.
Consent, you mean for the school? Yeah, well, they send.
Yeah, if it's not a nurse. In this case, it wouldn't be a nurse because it wouldn't be there. The nurse wouldn't be there, right? But,
It would be a delegate who would be on the list of people
Okay.
that they would be aware of.
okay,
I can tell you from having severe food allergies, that if I'm in anaphylactic shock, I need someone to give me the EpiPen. And I don't care if it's a nurse or a certified person. When my lips are turning blue and I can't breathe, I need the EpiPen.
right. But there have been lawsuits, in the sense of that person not giving the okay to, I mean, I'm just generalizing here, but obviously I have kids in the school, and if something happens, I want to know that there are other
Yeah, there
people
are.
there that know what they're
Absolutely.
doing, right?
Yes, that are, they receive training.
Yeah.
People covered by like a Good Samaritan law like that
Yes.
for you?
Okay.
I would
But when we sign like the approval for medication and stuff like that, aren't there people who are?
Well, medications.
Medications.
Well, not medication, like
Right.
EpiPen and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Don't you have to
this is
sign documents
life or
like
death.
for someone,
Right.
a nurse and then like
It's been a while since I've been a building principal, so I can't tell you exactly.
I don't
what
think
they
some
sign
changes
off on.
have been.
Yeah, but I'm sure there is some sort of sign off or some sort of notification for the kids that we know are allergic
Mhm.
about those things.
Okay. Now regarding back to school in September, we all know the governor has said there will be no virtual option. I know this also have been, you guys talked about this, but what's the plan for the kids that contract COVID and cannot go to school? That must be quarantined. I know you spoke about this, but I want to be a little bit more specific in the sense of, let's say I have some type of family emergency, right? And I need to leave the state or leave the country for a certain amount of time. How does that work with my child being in school? Because it's an emergency.
You would have to follow the guidelines from the CDC. I don't specifically know what they are, but Ms.
Yeah, where are we on that now?
Yeah.
No, I mean regarding like
I'm not
schoolwork.
legitimately asking like you are, I don't know.
Taryn,
I know,
This
it
week,
keeps
I believe
changing.
there's still a list, correct? For out of the
It's on
country.
the list, but it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
So it will probably change, 2 or 3 more times by September 1st.
No, I mean regarding the schoolwork.
So you're saying, like,
I'm saying like my child's not going to be in school for 2 weeks, right? There's no virtual option.
I mean,
Will
it
the-
goes back to how it was before we ever had COVID.
You
We
can,
went away for 2 weeks.
you can request the
You
teacher.
can request,
Oh, yeah,
Teacher,
if
yeah,
you know you're
always-
gonna be gone,
uh-huh,
you request to the teacher then will give you the lessons.
and then you just send it
No,
in
I don't think
via
so.
email? I'm asking
Not in
because I
our
know these
school.
things
If
keep
you're out,
changing.
you're out, and you make it up when you come back.
Yeah.
Not-
Yeah,
I mean, when the girls, all the
If
girls
they knew
on
ahead
the
of time.
cheerleading team, they gave them, for that week, they gave them
Yeah,
all
but
their
that's
work.
just something that was school
Full
related.
sanction.
No, it was Pop Warner.
That's a big ask of teachers to be able to give out weeks in advance of lessons. That's not,
But if it's a week or
That's
two
not-
and the
that's
teacher
not-
knows,
I don't think it's possible.
that's what I mean. That's not something that, I mean, you are, I think all teachers work with you to make up the most important things and figure out what you can do. But I mean, that's a case by case.
And it's usually, the rule,
Experience.
the rule is usually 1 for 1, so for every day you're out, you get a day to make it.
Like I'll tell, as a teacher, I'll tell my students, while you're out, they know where I post my homework online. I'm like, you can still go on that website every day and see what's going on. I'm not going to hand you, but
right?
But
Well,
it's
I don't
all
know how it
posted.
is with elementary. I don't know if you teach elementary or not.
middle school.
Middle school. So I don't know if they're still going to be like posting like last year, right? The work.
Asynchronous work? No, they would I mean, because I know the middle and high school post their homework and stuff like that. Is that something that the elementary school teachers do? Do they post a daily homework?
With COVID, they
Yes.
were,
I don't know, I've only
yeah.
been in a
I know,
COVID
I've been
situation,
out of,
so.
I've been out of
I know.
elementary school
I
for a
don't know.
long while now.
I'm just trying to foresee some things that could
Yeah.
happen all of a sudden, and, you know, we kind of talk about, all right. I know someone already the question was asked about the camera in the classroom being turned on to see, you know, if the child can assist. And then if Murphy goes back to leaving it up to the district, will it be left up to each teacher or staff to decide if they want to wear a mask now that the majority is vaccinated? And what about the kids?
His mandate is everybody's wearing masks, so.
No, she's saying if at some
If he
point
goes back?
it goes back, I think we had said anyone
We
who
had-
proved that they were vaccinated would then be up to them if they wanted to. But
So
they
only the vaccinated?
would have the choice of not having a mask.
Yeah,
Everybody else-
And that was the recommendation that
The CDC
the doctor,
actually said
Our
school doctor gave us.
Also, there was a survey we did, and the survey, I think it was like over 60% of parents said they felt more comfortable if vaccinated people were able to not wear a mask and unvaccinated people. It was the.
It was
survey-
60%?
It was like at least 60% of like the parents felt comfortable.
That's almost 50-50.
68%?
So what if there's a religious exemption?
That
There
would,
is no,
as far as, well, then they would have to wear a mask. I mean, we can't force anyone to vaccinate.
No.
Right, so what's gonna happen when it comes to kids' churns? And when it comes to the time of kids getting vaccinated, and a child has a religious exemption for every other vaccine,
they wear masks
They wear
Then they
masks.
would wear a
until,
mask.
until such time as
Until-
we're told they don't have to.
that's a little crazy. It's a little bit of a segregation going on there.
That's what, that's what the CDC and that's what the state is told.
So if they say we're gonna hang around with masks for 5 years, nothing is gonna change? Our school system is not gonna try to figure something else out, work with the parents.
Well,
I mean,
we don't
it's
think
8
like
hours.
hypothetical, so we'll bridge that when we come to it.
I'm just worried because it's 8 hours of school with masks. Are there still gonna be
8
mask
hours.
breaks?
Yeah,
There really weren't mask breaks last year.
I can't speak.
I mean, it all depends. I know my boys have mask breaks, but they're,
You boys are in- You're in
pre-K.
district, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pre-K and K, they definitely did. So I guess maybe it depends on the school teacher.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but there's not a lot. It's still 8 hours, so, you know, I'm concerned because, now in the summer, a lot of kids went to, summer school. I'm not sure how it was here, but in other districts, summer schools, kids didn't wear masks. The camps, they didn't wear masks, and we're talking about a lot of kids, so.
Well, we all feel like that. I don't.
Yeah,
want to
I
get
think
back
we
on
all
either.
agree.
I know,
I think we all
but
agree.
I'm just saying, like, is there anything like us as like, you guys as a board, you know, kind of representing the school and parents and community, if you can say anything, do you have a say?
To the governor? No.
If it's
he makes the
mandated
rules.
from the state.
Just vote him out, right?
I don't know.
If he throws it back at our doorstep, then obviously that's a discussion we would have to.
She brings up a question though that I don't know that was addressed by the governor. It may have been and I missed it. He's saying everybody's wearing masks, but initially there was some caveats of outdoors,
Yeah.
recess.
Yeah,
And Jim, are we still good to go outside in any outdoor activity?
Yeah,
Take them off.
right now, the mask mandate's for indoor.
Okay,
for indoors,
okay.
so when they go
Okay, so
outdoors,
maintains being outdoor, no mask, and
Okay,
for
that's
lunch.
good.
yeah, and recess or gym if it's outdoors.
And with all the schools, we're sure we have enough space for kids to have lunch without masks, with the 3 feet apart.
In our lower levels, they're gonna have plexiglass shields, so they'll be separated by plexiglass shields, so we don't need to worry about the actual 3 feet of distancing because they have a barrier. At the high school level, unfortunately, we don't have that luxury, so the kids will be eating together. And that's part of what the governor had said is to the best extent possible. And unfortunately, at the high school, we just don't have enough space, especially with 680 kids. So,
So they'll sit without masks and eat altogether?
yes, they will.
See, that's where
Right.
I think is wrong, because if there's,
My suggestion is that you need to write to the governor.
We all do.
right, exactly.
Because that's why
No,
we
it's just-
decided not to have lunch in school. because
No,
of
it's
that
like
particular-
for some schools you can, some you can't, you can do this, but you can really do it. That's why I was asking if the board could,
It always.
It becomes a mandate now, and then, until they put it in our hands 100%.
until the emergency order is over, right?
Yeah,
I don't
basically.
think there is an emergency order, I think it's just
We
an
extended
executive
it.
order now, yeah.
No, it's a state of emergency, that's how we do it.
He
Right.
agreed to
Yeah,
that. It's an
exactly,
emergency.
until it's over, then he can't
So
do
he
it.
deems it an emergency, yes.
I thought he could think of it.
No.
All right, thank you.
680, that's 170 kids per class.
No, you're talking high school?
Yeah, 680.
Your freshman class is 261.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So if that trend continues.
I was gonna say, how are we looking?
If that trend
Going forward.
continues, I can tell you, you don't have a big enough high school.
261 freshmen.
Now, I will tell you, Ed, how many repeaters?
150 for us to use the school, 45 southbound road, and the rest are.
Wait, 150, 40, so that's 100, that's 200 right there.
There's 200 right there, so you have 60, basically 60 repeaters.
Wait,
45 for these kids up there, right? School choice kids.
I was gonna ask about choice too.
I mean, that's, 260, that's double what Megan and Heather both graduated with. And
So
that
then,
was 3 and 4 years ago.
so then let me ask you, Dr. Galvin, because I know we talked about this before. How many students do we currently have at school of choice?
28
Total?
total.
So that's not a huge.
That's not helpful.
Yeah, because even if we got rid of 28, that's still not us. But I mean.
Would that have any impact at all? If
7
there was
kids per
28
class.
words,
Right.
would it make any, no, okay.
$100,000.
Yeah. Yep, yep.
7 per grade, spread out among one class, one kid in each class. Right, and the money.
Sure does pay for teachers.
All right, does anyone else have anything they'd like to come?
Patricia? No, come on, don't let us down.
We answered your
How can
questions.
you not come up? You
We
come up
answered your
every
questions,
week.
okay? All right, so we covered that at some point.
Right.
All right, at this point, I need a motion. to
Motion.
move into executive. Mr.
Second,
Thomaselli and Mr. Val, what numbers are we going in under, Dr. Gallagher?
1 through 9.
3,
Material and,
3,
7,
material and.
378.
always 7, 8.
3, 7, and the material and disclosure of which constitutes an unwarranted invasion of individual privacy. 7, pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiations of matters of attorney-client privilege. And 8, specific prospective or current employees, unless all who could be adversely affected request to enter a session. So Mr. Thomaselli, Mr. Val, all in
Are
favor?
we coming back?
Yeah, we have to
Yeah,
vote on the
you
hit,
have
right?
HIV if you have.
We have one HIV to move when we come back, but other than that, there's nothing else.
got
All
it.
right, you're unmuted. You're good to go.
Okay, 17.1, resolve the Belleville Board of Education, the approval of the resolutions is outlined in approval of hidden cases under middle and elementary school, 7.2 and 7.3. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Thomasoni, second.
Second.
Ms. Martinez, roll call, please.
Okay, let me find my roll call, I'll be right with you. Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Ms. Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Morris,
Yes.
Ms. Russomanno,
Yes.
Mr. Tomaselli,
Yes.
Mr. Valerier,
Abstain.
Mr. Janussi,
Yes.
and Mr. Fazio.
Yes. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Now, hold on, question.
Oh.
One of those HIB was high school.
Well, she just said.
Mm,
Middle school.
yeah, middle and
They were
elementary.
both middle?
No, they're going into high school.
Yeah, but they're still
One of them
middle.
was
Okay,
going
never
into-
mind.
Yeah, you're still considered.
Motion to close?
All in favor?
Aye.